Good morning. Good morning. This is Joanna. Thank you to another welcome, welcome new 5D experience. And we're going to talk about how to transcend and rise above any levels of dysfunction, toxicity, even abuse that you've gone through throughout your life, and how to recognize and pay attention to your everyday unfolding and the refinements and the attunements that you have with your own self-awareness. Awakening and ascension is all about really becoming more really subtly aware of how you act and how you behave, and you're awakening within the whole world of energy. All things are energy, all things are vibration, and knowing how you vibrate and how you allow yourself to unfold in the most magnificent way allows you that really profound ability to navigate even the most subtle moments of navigation and subtle moments of energies that you're feeling and you're sensing, and allowing you to regain your self-confidence, to regain your self-guidance, and to regain who you are as a divine being of light, and really open yourself up into the new world so that you're the master of your own experience, and really allowing yourself to know that regardless of what you've been through, you're not your past, but you are the culmination of all the wisdoms and all the strengths that you've meant to go through. As hard as challenging as that might understand in the fullness of who you are, taking that highest perspective to see why you have gone through what you've gone through, and allow your teams to really unfold those magnificent lessons for you in the various ways that you're able to see yourself and to honor yourself in all experiences, and to really rise above. Most often than not, doesn't happen until you've gone through the integration of that growth experience. That's why reflection is so important, and doing reflection as often as possible from as many different vantage points, because that's when you really know that you're becoming a master of your multidimensional experience. When any one soul experience, regardless of how challenging or traumatic, you can see it from the different avenues and portals through which you've allowed yourself to grow within the light and the compassion that is that divine relationship. Divine relationship is that Vesica Pisces. It's that very center point through which you remain neutral and kind of objective, and to see all perspectives in which why you allowed yourself the beliefs that you had about yourself and who you were and what you existed within that brought in and called in those energies. Remember, you're a multidimensional experience of light. And all things in all moments allows you that whatever you're emitting and whatever you're pulsating is what you're calling into your reality. So if there are unhealed wounds, if there are imbalanced beliefs about who you are, the power and the confidence and the clarity of who you are, maintaining your own sovereignty, regardless of what the social norms are and the social conformities are, or the roles or definitions of who you are. Those pulsations remain in your field until they're cleared and cleansed through you, until you're meant to create that new story for you that is aligned with spirit, not aligned with social conformity, not aligned with anybody else's will or story of you, but that you're returning your full power of confidence, guidance, and self-understanding and self-description and self-storytelling for you. That is your promise to the divine. Every soul comes to this planet with their own divine soul blueprint and their story that they're meant to transcend whatever hurdles and whatever transcension blocks or experiences of the psyche that they've come to unfold. And that's why those pulsations are in your field. That's why they are in your chakras. And they're divinely timed and released when you have the capabilities, when you have the wisdoms, when you have the intelligences to transcend them. Your teams and your higher self and your soul know exactly what you're moving through. They know exactly what your soul's plan is and what strengths that you have to transcend anything that is before you. So just know that. It's not a random occurrence what you're going through. It's not a random occurrence, the dreams that you have and the skills that you're gaining and the capabilities that you're gaining to transcend every challenge and every trauma and every level of abuse. And in this now moment, you rewrite all the past. You're allowing yourself to rewrite the past experiences so that your soul doesn't have to carry the trauma, and nor do you have to allow those radiations or emissions ripple out to your children or their children's children. And this is why we have carried forward, especially in this timeline like no other. It's the most profound timeline for all of human evolution. So profound, I can't even begin to explain how profound it is. We are now clearing out so much lineage and Akashic trauma that has been carried forward and brought to us by our ancestors for us to clear, because we're now at the highest level of consciousness that we understand evolution. We understand that it is the key of all design of all souls. Every soul's ache and promise and passion and excitement is to evolve. physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually or energetically. And it's up to us to break all barriers, break all boundaries on everything that we've ever been taught or told in the vibrational stories or the mental viruses that have kept us very limited. And every single soul on this planet is here to transcend their own vibrational stories of limitation, fear, and subjugation, because every family moves through it. And we see through the time, we call it time, the spiral of now, and how your past experiences have affected you and how you behave now. And so we want to talk about today and really key in on it. When you're doing your daily self-care, you can carry that daily self-care throughout your day so that you're really aware and you're really fine-tuning yourself as a vessel of love and light, and you're a vessel of these infinite projections of love and radiance of light. That life force is meant to live through you. Life force is the recognition of all that is spirit, living and nourishing and loving all that you are as this multidimensional being that is really moving through any and all timelines, that your expansiveness is able to consciously integrate, to consciously understand and participate in, and you're consciously allowing yourself to unpack the light packets and then have it be interpreted in your multidimensional way, and why daily self-care is so important, because that daily self-care continues to release the densities and any problems that are arising in any one moment, in any one day. You're allowing the reflection and the integration of anything that comes forward in your dreams and your daily unfolding, and how you can perceive it from different perspectives so that you're keeping on top of your ability to process light, your ability to process what you move through that is in greater light. Regardless of what anyone thinks or knows, to be true, our planet is the highest vibration of light that it has ever been, and it will continue to do so. At a multidimensional level, we will continue to be bathed in and to integrate and to process light. We are multidimensional beings of light first. We are energy first. We are divine essence of love first. And we, energy, and we move through and we integrate and we process, and we're communicating as the divine energy without us even knowing it. When we're walking through parks and we're with Gaia, we have divine ancient wisdoms that are assisting us in transmuting and participating in those energetic communications that oftentimes we don't even realize or understand. So that daily self-care is so important in the continuous refinement of who you are as light, to maintain the beautiful clearing and cleansing of who you are, but also to carry forward and just keep a light vibrational awareness and refinement as to how you're behaving and how you're modifying who you are in the different vibrational structures and environments that you move within. And we all understand that children are our greatest teachers of this. When they've learned and they've experienced bullying, if you will, for coming forward and being their most unique, genuine, authentic expression, and then they get bullied, and then they shift and modify their behavior to maintain that safety experience. Because the psyche understands, and it just behaves from that fight or flight experience. Am I safe in my environment? And am I safe to grow and evolve? And for humanity as a collective, we are all transcending subjugation and suppression, because that has been our greatest limitator of all of our divine skills and gifts and our wisdoms. But that light activates it. That light activates the cells and the wisdoms and the DNA. It activates those essences of wisdoms and intelligences that take us far beyond what we've ever known in any line of study. And that is really piercing through every aspect of our social economic experience to become social altruistic, because we can see that light will pierce through it and allow us these various portals and pathways to really expand and put that light within whatever topic or whatever function or class or classification or whatever definition it might have been. And that's when we're releasing ourselves from the mental viruses of limitation, and we're really stepping into the light, because the light will bathe into the very center of anything that is there and allow us that neutrality to see it really expand in its most progressive way. Not to have the humans guide and direct, but just to allow the light to bathe in the center of it, and then allow spirit to take in and move in what needs to be moved. But we must allow that life force to flow through us. That life force is spirit. That life force is light. That light force is the infinite intelligence. But if we're not aware of how we're moving about our day, how we adjust our behavior around others or in different environments, or how we feel that we're moving and we're behaving in ways that is still on the behavior of what was, that's really key, and that's really important to know. That are you creating the same cycle based on the experiences of the psyche of wounding from the traumas and the abuse? Or are you in this experience where you're constantly calling in light to bathe and press out, so that you're creating that template of infinite potential? And it takes a real refined practice of mastery. And And we find this most evident when, especially when we're in traditional academic studies. Is there a pressing out of light in any one particular section of study that anyone is moving through? Can it be bathed in light? And can that template of that one class or that one area of study, can it be bathed and pressed out into whatever source wants to bring in, and bring in those multidimensional offerings? And this is what teachers and professors will be challenged with, to be the leaders of, so that professors and teachers will allow the open neutrality of whatever topic that they're studying, to allow the foundation of what was, because our foundation and our history is very important, because it allows us to understand and really honor and appreciate who we are as humans, who we've always been as humans. But then to allow the platform to be lifted to the highest consciousness, so that light is bathed, and we're allowing the open opportunity for the expansiveness of whatever wisdoms come forward. And in this open expansiveness, you're creating these vortexes and these portals for all that is spirit to bathe all of the participants, so that they're awakening within the light of who they are, bringing forth the highest vibrational wisdoms that they're meant to activate. So as it stands right now, traditionality is basically taught from a foundational platform. Their study groups are planned. Their presentations are planned. It's all based on traditional what was, and it's based in the new now moment, and it never changes, very rarely, and very limited change. And so now we're saying, well, we can really take leaps and bounds on our entire evolution if we're allowing light to come forward and allow us to behave, allow us to offer, and allow us to really stretch the platforms that is all energy that we're all walking upon. Everything that we walk upon that we think is physical is created through our vibrations first, just as your body is the matter of what your vibration holds. Whatever your vibrational beliefs are is what your physical matter body will show you. That is why if there's illness, if there's disease, if there's imbalance, it will show you, because there is a belief within that matter body that shows you what the makeup of it is, and that is your control of who you are, who you think you are, what are you made of, and how can you modify it, and how can you be the director of it so that it shifts and changes, and you have absolute control of that. And so now we're asking you to really be refined, and why that daily self-care of who you are as divine light, of walking in a world that is divine light, lifting and being with the oneness of the intelligence that is Gaia, who's ready to meet you at the highest light vibrations. Remember that the vibrational healing mechanisms that she offers, the vibrational songs and intelligences that she holds within her nature, the biosphere, is infinitely more potential and infinitely more expansive than we've ever given her credit for. And that will be a part of our 5D learning and the mechanisms of our expansion and evolution. Because we're now shifting to the multidimensional higher self way of learning, not the lower mind way of learning, where we're just learning from past notebooks and traditions, and we're just changing it slightly. No, we're absolutely lifting the lid off everything that we've been given and allowing light to be the purveyor of all potentiality, and not for us to guide it to any end state, but for it to be an open platform of infinite potentiation, so that the light and the activations can take place at all levels, from all levels. And any great teacher would absolutely always suggest and be a incredible advocate of that the students are the greatest teachers. The students are the greatest catalyst to bring information and wisdoms to new heights and new levels. And so we're changing our thought patterns and our behaviors on what our evolutionary growth process is really about, and how can we create a really 5D learning environment, because the environment is so very key for the expansiveness of the multidimensional being, the element of who we are as spirit and matter, and the environment that we're surrounding in it. Because the environment that we're surrounding allows that molecule, that energy pulsation, to know that it is safe. It is safe to be activated in the highest vibrational light, because these children and the dynamics of the multidimensional DNAs that they're coming with are far beyond what we've ever, and these programs of our old vibrational stories simply will not allow these children to come forward in their highest light vibrations. They just won't. These are very dense and limiting, confined structures of growth, and very limited growth. And so we're going to trajectory our entire platform of potentiation into what is light. And we're going far beyond what is even known, and there's even words we don't even have to fit in. But we must be able to lift up the foundations of everything in our socio-collective and have it become more the bedding of altruism, the bedding of congruency of light. Is the bedding and is the foundation congruent to the light that's being offered? And in all experiences that we've come from, it hasn't been, because there have been such steeped experiences of dysfunction in all of our experiences, whether it's dogma, familial, social, economic. They've all been very steeped in dysfunction because it's all been egocentric and oligarchy, which have restricted us in our expression, restricted us in who we are as divine beings, restricted us in our potentiation, because they're based on limited structures of fear and control. Control is the worst vibration for human health. It instills fear, it instills limitation, it creates a very low vibrational, cyclical lack of growth and stagnancy. And that is when illness and disease set in. And so light is so important to allow the absolute changing of the platform so that the bedding is congruent to light, where it's open and it's allowing, and that life force for each person involved in all environments is able to fully express themselves on all levels. And you know that when you're walking around still carrying the residue of abuse, still carrying the residue of many eons of dysfunction, especially those that are divine feminine, because many of those abuses that have come have been directly in our acceptance level in the world, and how we are perceived in the world, and how we are written and honored in the world, and how we are given the same offers of equality, the same offers of salary, respect, the same honors of platform, notability. The values are completely imbalanced, unless it's on beauty products or things of that nature, and that's fine. But divine feminine are also creators. Divine feminine are also the wisdom makers. Divine feminine are the intuitive healers that teach their children about intuitiveness, that teach their children how to be guided from within and allow themselves that expansive potentiation that's within all areas, arenas, and markets, because there is no escaping it. It will continue on all levels of our multidimensionality, and it's up to us to increase our ability to say, how can we create these open platforms so that that life force is flowing through all, and how to be really refined and aware that when you're behaving from that energy of that Vesica Pisces that is still in those old behaviors and thoughts, because it takes you to entrain your multidimensional experience and allow those constant pulsations of new, constant pulsations of that new now to be higher than it was yesterday or higher than it was an hour ago. But that takes the entrainment and the purposefulness and your passion of who you are, because if you're not passionate about who you are, it will be hard to entrain those higher vibrational experiences. And again, why we create daily self-care and daily self-love. Because if you're not in love with who you are, and you're not in care of who you are, and you're not in honor of who you are, how you treat your multidimensional bodies and that ability to have that life force flow through you, then that potentiation for healing, the potentiation for manifesting with spirit and abundance, you're manifesting to create that beautiful open vessel so that you're able to receive all that spirit has to offer you without any blocks, without any experiential psyche wounding that keeps resisting the natural flow of life. And so that's really understanding who you are, understanding what we exist within and what exists within you is the key to absolute manifestation on any and all levels. Manifestation to expand our socio programs and arenas, to expand health and wellness, which we are going to rewrite health and wellness in the next 5 years. It's going to be incredibly profound. The changes and the alterations that will be done in, most importantly, because it doesn't go anywhere without this, without our consciousness awareness. Our consciousness shift within changes everything without. This is the bedding. Our bedding is our socio arena. Our bedding is our abundance, how we do banking, how we heal and care for one another. Everything in our socioeconomic stems from our consciousness awareness from within. And the more that we awaken within, return power to within, return self-care and self-love within, and we're directed as within, we are directed from spirit, then all of our life platforms change. And then we're awakening to the greater light that spirit and all of the councils and all the heavens provide us in all ways, because it's a multidimensional experience and it's not just one thing. You're given and bathed in light in a myriad of ways, but each person is responsible for working through their traumas and their dysfunction, their limitations, fear, and greed, all of the stories of the vibrations that they have put themselves within by choice. There's no blaming and there's no shaming, because it's your life, it's your story, and you have the right to rewrite it. So go through in every morning, pick one or two really key behavioral attributes that you want to work on. Whether your behavioral attribute this week might be jealousy, Every moment that you're finding yourself jealous, drop within and create a new foundational belief so that everything on the outside of you begins to change. And that's how you begin to change your template reality. Because your template reality, these oscillating template realities, is based on your core consciousness. So if you're refusing to wake up and you're refusing to take ownership and you're refusing to change your behaviors and what you feel you're worthy of and what is worthy of you, then those behavioral cycles and those templates will continue to be limited, and you're going to continue to attract various people, beings, and circumstances that are still honoring your lack of change of belief of who you are. But transcending the vibrational stories is understanding and being very aware of, is as you're walking about your day, are you still behaving in the residue of the abuse, in the residue of the challenge, and the residue of the dysfunction? And that's very common, because oftentimes it doesn't, your healing is a multidimensional experience. Your healing is a multidimensional experience. So if you're healing a core wound of abuse, mental and emotional and spiritual or vibrational abuse, it's going to take you weaving in and out this infinity experience in this time of now. And every new day that you're coming forward, you're entraining your new thoughts, you're entraining your new actions, you're entraining your new behaviors, you're entraining the new way of being and becoming, so that your template of the outer reality is being changed in every new moment that you're cycling in this now experience. That's how the ripples of all are changed. But it takes that inner awareness to know that. That's what self-awareness and self-knowing, and one of every master in every religion and every vibrational accountability, the mainstay mantra is know thyself. When are you succumbing to old behaviors and patterns that you're still believing that the abuse is still there, or that someone that approaches you next will still call in those challenges for you? And your soul will give you those time capsules, if you will, so that you're challenging yourself to see if you're transcending and you're trusting reality, and you're trusting what you're emitting, and you're trusting your new behaviors, and you're trusting your new words and your new speech to back up your spirit, because you're now healing that inner child, and your inner child wants to know it's safe in the world to fully express, that your inner child is safe to fully receive, that your inner child is fully safe to be fully who it is. And it only does so when you're allowing yourself to push out the expansiveness of the light that's being offered in every moment, because you can and you will, and you will be in more attentiveness and more awareness as to when you're holding yourself back from the residue of the pain and the dysfunction, and know that that's okay. So give yourself a break, but be kind and compassionately aware, and fine tune yourself into how you speak and how you behave. And are you challenging yourself to up level your speech of yourself, your spiritual speech of yourself? No, I'm worthy of receiving, and I'm not going to fall back into dysfunctional arguments where I have to validate who I am and my worthiness to receive, or I have to validate my actions for spiritual growth and for interpersonal growth or emotional and mental wellness. I'm not going to validate and argue why it's important to feel safe in my environment. You shouldn't have to. It's a basic human right. And so you're allowing this seed of who you are, the seed of value and the seed of divine essence that you were born with, the perfection of who you are, to be returned. And that is the absolute inner healing of the inner child. When you can pay attention in any one moment, your sacred geometry, because everything is energy, everything is the vibrational song of spirit. You're now knowing that, you're now aware of it. And anything that touches you that is not in vibrational alignment of the standards that you're now setting. No, I will speak kindly of myself today. My mental wellness and my emotional wellness are absolutely the most important. And every moment that I feel myself slipping back into those accustomed behaviors of not feeling safe, of being vibrationally bullied, or to having my importance of self-awareness and self-kindness, and my ability to make loving choices for myself to expand and to feel safe emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, I'm not going to fall back as if they're not important anymore because of the old patterns of being mentally and emotionally abused, or dysfunctional patterns within families that just continue and nobody questions it. And so understand that you're going to have these moment for moment triggers, and your keen awareness to be absolutely in presence of who you are as light, and to be able to constantly bathe and cleanse all residue as it comes up. And just give yourself that challenge too. For instance, you might be you might be meeting somebody for coffee, and these are just little small occurrences that make such a great difference. And you're in lineup and you're waiting for your coffee, and you're hearing people have different conversations around you, and you meet up with your friend, and your friend is the friend that you've been friends with forever. and the friend is talking about their life experience and they're going through such a challenge, and they pull you back into the conversations of dysfunction where you were supporting and enabling certain behaviors, and you were enabling their space in their life, and you now choose to say that I'm standing in who I am right now, and I want to start creating relationships that are valuing me and that are coming to the table with a higher vibration. And because I love you and because I care for you, I want that for you too. It's because I care. I can't continue these experiences anymore because it plays on my vibration. It plays on who I am as a being. And I want you to seek your highest care. So here's some things that I've been doing. What do you think? And how can you look within you to stop enabling dysfunctional abusive patterns? And be that spokesperson for that inner child, because that inner child and your inner child are co-creating. And it takes that courage, and it takes that vibrational courage to say, I can't keep having these conversations that continually enable dysfunction. I can't continue to be a part of these programs and platforms where it's constantly imbalanced and unjust. And I'm not going to continue fighting for the imbalance